You know, you never want to give with expectation, but it's okay to ask. You're like, hey, I'd love to sharpen your knives for free. I think you'll appreciate this and this will make sense to you. You know, from the little I know and in our banter, I always believe that you can't slow down winners. Yeah, and honestly, for me, it's like, you know, I think everybody does it differently. For me, if we're competing in that market, it's not that I'm gonna look at what you're doing. Like, I'm not the kind of person that will look at what you're doing, appreciate it, and try to add that to my game, which I think a lot of people do well in sports and business. My thing is that I'm so focused on what I'm doing, and I'm making assumptions that you're gonna do great too, and that there's so much abundance. Do I want to lose a pitch to you for Nike Southeast Asia? Absolutely not. Do I think that there's 95% of other people that stink, and if somebody's good, they deserve to win business? I absolutely do. I think it's very bad business to suppress or be petty with other winners. I watch people do it with me all the time, and I laugh. I'm like, your keyboard hate is not gonna stop my growth. It's super common. I would argue keyboard hate fuels my growth.
How to get over all the bullshit with Garyvee. The quickest path to happiness or more economics in business happens to be the thing that you love the most. If you're passionate about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, starting a YouTube and podcast on this is the perfect thing to do. It's called niche marketing. If you focus on the 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. period, you'll be consistent in making money and becoming a noted top expert on that very thing that you're passionate about. You have to balance. No level of success is worth damaging personal relationships. People love to say no about today, let alone the future. Garyvee is a blind day trader every second of every day. The biggest aha moment for him was all of his context when he was building his businesses and all of the gray hairs he's earned. You can get better, it just doesn't happen overnight.
You know, it was funny, and this is where I give my parents enormous credit. And you know, it's funny, it's a business book that says self-awareness. My parents grew up, and I give them so much credit, in a world where all their contemporaries, and you know this, education's the way out for immigrants. My mom recognized that I was a merchant, an entrepreneur. School failed me. School's failing entrepreneurs every single day because it's not built for entrepreneurship. It's built for workers. You know, if you're being taught to play within the lines, and there's nothing being taught that maps to the entrepreneurial market. As a matter of fact, my biggest cynicism when I sit across an entrepreneur today is if they are too successful at school. I probably look at Ivy League grads starting startups right now with more of a negative light, because what I've learned over the last 5 to 7 years, and by the way, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've taken a step back on this because there's too many entrepreneurial friends who've gone to great schools that have been successful. So this is not a blanket statement, but I will tell you that in a world of private schools, in a world of mommy and daddy having a lot of connections, that when you go from 12, 15, 18 years of that ecosystem and you go into a market and you create an app, the market doesn't give a crap who your dad is. The market responds to your product, and a lot of these kids have not been able to take the punch in the mouth that comes along with entrepreneurship. The number one thing that will make your company go fast is continuity and lack of politics. Which means we are on the dawn of the era where emotional intelligence is about to become the single most important trade. That skills through technology growth will continue on a daily basis to be commoditized. But your emotional capabilities to interact with others will become a very, very important trade. Cancer spreads. With cancer and politics comes lack of speed. Your company will get much slower because people are sitting around debating how miserable they are or worried to have meetings with other individuals. Your company will get slow in a world where the speed of product output, features, and how you interact with your customers has never been greater. So I implore a tech-centric, financial-centric, type A room like this to go home. In my company, the number 2 person is not the CFO or the COO, excuse me. The number 2 person after me is Claude Silver. She is the Chief Heart Officer. She's the head of HR, call it what you want. It is no question the biggest variable to our success.
The biggest thing that I would love for this room to start doing is to start really thinking about the notion of being great at producing written words, audio, and video per the 10 platforms so that it's contextual to the platform. I just pushed a lot of you to do LinkedIn. Looking at this room, 11 of you will do it. Of those 11, if you're listening right now, remember this. When somebody's on LinkedIn and going through the content, they're in a business mindset. When they're on Instagram, they're in an entertainment mindset. So the way you convey your message is extremely important. The adjectives you use, the analogies you use, the examples you use, it has to base on the psychology. Every one of us is in a different place when we're on different platforms. You have to pander, you have to be contextual to that. So whatever you have to say about what you're doing, make sure you're being empathetic and strategic to how they're thinking when they see it.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more content.